That's right. Not only am I doing these totally free podcasts, but also these free morning walks right here. You can donate to the channel to keep me up and live and running for free right here on YouTube. We're doing the Space Water podcast where I'm bringing you my world renowned, groundbreaking research as well as the world renowned, groundbreaking work of various other special people all over the planet. And this is hearing all you special people out there. We all have our own unique patterns and paths that form the patterns of our cosmic journey, and all of that makes us all very unique beings. So I'm really happy that you all find at just the right place and time will find me live, or just the right podcast live at just the right times. This is part of the pattern of your life and part of the spiritual signs that we see. And it's very important that we understand our place in nature and the universe. And that's our biggest problem as a species right now. And then once we find that collectively, if we start to change, you'll see miraculously, like it's some sort of miracle. You'll see as we change collectively, the planet will collectively change as well. The water on the planet, the atmosphere, the weather, everything would change with the sentient collective consciousness of the planet that we've completely destroyed with our replication of technology that we've been working with, right? And it's all through the ego and greed and materialism. And I've talked about it before, but we are using a replication of what we should be working with, right? We should be harnessing the sound, the energy, the light from the universe, right? All suns and stars emit light, streams of plasma, sentient plasma intelligences. And these streams of light have all the intelligences of creation, of sustenance, of evolution, of dissolution, right? Of destruction, of healing, of evolution, of creation, of sustenance. All of this is streaming from suns and stars. And depending on our vibrations is how we get evolved from the light. So if you have sentient life on a specific planet that is sending out its vibrations, sending out its calls, right? Sending out its music, sending out its light, right? When we're emitting our vibrations, our intentions, our mantras, our songs, right? When we're emitting this music of life from us, those emanations are absorbed by the moon, the sun, and all stars, right? And then they alter it from their own specific vibration as well, and their own personalities and traits. And they send out those emanations of creation, of sustenance, of evolution, depending on our reflected vibration, right? So if we have an ego driven vibration, materialistic vibration coming out of the sentient life on this planet, the sun and the moon are going to absorb that, and they're going to send out what we're calling our souls to be for us to absorb. And as those emanations leave the sun in streams of plasma, our planet absorbs it. We absorb it. The spinal current of humanity absorbs it. The spinal current of humanity absorbs those light emanations. and evolves us accordingly. You could look at the universe as the whole universe, as God's brain, as God. And every little sun, star is an angel of God, a sentient intelligence that you can't even fathom. And we are just coming into the sciences nowadays where we can describe it, some of it scientifically, without even really realizing the significance behind it, the spiritual significance behind it. Because no longer is spirituality and science fused together. They are kept separate. And in the ancient past, you had to be, if you were an adept, you had to be a scientist and a warrior. You had to be a doctor and a shaman. You had to be an astrologer and an astronomer. You had to be a surgeon and a warrior, right? You had to be all of the sacred sciences in one. What's up, Ra, the creator? Smash those like buttons, whatever. Come on, people. You got to help me with the algorithm and build our frequency here, our harmony here. And that's why it's very important, because we're asking all these questions as a species. Who are we? Where we're going? There we go. We got the smash. You could tap that like button. Don't be afraid. We're asking all these questions as a species now, especially when we get backed up against the wall. Like, who are we? What's up, Indigo? Indigo 1111. I'm going to be doing the Space Water podcast as well after the walk to show you guys, go deeper into it. And I've been showing all the sacred solar sciences that we've lost the true knowledge of, how it's re-emerging now, because we need it. Before, if we don't understand the spiritual significance behind what transpires in the universe and in the cosmos, and what comes to Earth and what's transpiring in Earth, and how there's a spiritual significance behind even the weather and everything else. If we don't start to realize, really on a collective basis, who we are and where we're going and where we fit in things, then we are going to lose our DNA and ourselves and what we consider humanity. And we're at the cusp of that. And this is one of the most unique times in history, because we've lost civilizations, we've lost races before. Humanity has reemerged in different forms many times. And I've been showing in every religion and culture the advanced knowledge that was veiled within mythology and metaphors and poems, the spiritual significance behind it as well, and how when knowledge was lost, it ends up becoming mythologies and put into stories and giving very earthly attributes. And today we're going to be talking about Sufism, which is the mystical branch of Islam, right? Of it's almost like, well, it's nothing. It's not. I'm not saying it's exactly like Kabbalah or anything like that. But it's like sort of like. I'm not even comparing it to it in any way. But you know how Kabbalah is considered the mystical part of Judaism, right? Well, Sufi is the mystical branch of the Muslims. And they had a king called Tahmuras. And obviously, you can see the Vedic origins in their terminologies, their sound shift from Vedic words. Even the Tahmuras king, obviously, he was from the Asuras warriors, right? The warrior priests of the Asuras, right? And there's a famous painting that you could see right here in the thumbnail from this episode right here of Sun Behind the Sun Chronicles, where I do these morning sunrise walks right here in the lower Hudson Valley of New York, which is like one of the biggest UFO hotspots as well, interdimensional hotspots we have on the planet. Right here in the lower Hudson Valley of New York, Rockland, Westchester County. Um, well, you have these very interesting stories that are in Sufism, and with this painting that I'm discussing, you see some interesting solar symbology that no one would even realize. First of all, we're talking about solar kings, right? We're talking about kings that are in communion with the stars, with the gods, with the divine, right? And Muhammad was considered, a mystic, a prophet as well, right? So this king Tahmuras, obviously he's part of the Asura clans, the Asura lines, even given the name Tahmuras, right? And he's depicted in this painting as hunting down the Jinn. Now, what are the Jinn? Sometimes spelled Jinn, or sometimes spelled Djin. These spiritual creatures that talked about as being smokeless fire, smokeless vapors. Now, remember, this is symbology. These are not peoples. These are intelligences of the cosmos, of the stars, right? They are literally talking about sentient plasma intelligences, life that we can't even truly understand from our spectrum right now of light. But plasma is another state of matter. It can be looked at as a smokeless fire. It could be looked at as a smokeless cosmic mist. It could be looked at as light. It could be looked at as water, space water. It could be looked at as space wind. So all the gods of the wind, of the clouds, of the air, remember, they're not talking about Earth. Earth worship was given a reflection of names from their cosmic origin. Like when you have certain mountains and certain rivers like the Nile, the Ganges River, you remember they were named after their cosmic coordinate origins, right? And why were they named after this? Because this is where the light shined upon. What do I mean by that? Well, on a mountaintop would be named after a cosmic coordinate because on that mountaintop is where the light came down on an angle and shined in right at a specific megalithic site on the mountain, or on a specific spot on the plain where the light comes down and shines on the hilltop. Well, the hilltop is going to be named after that light and the origins of that light. Just like a river, the light comes down from a star, right, from the sun. And as the light shines upon the river is going to be named after that light. It's pretty simple, but it's pretty amazing. And that's all plasma physics when it comes down to talking about streams of light, right? Especially when the symbology and the terminology starts to line up in the most poetic, beautiful ways, right? Like my book coming out, The Golden Noose of the Gods, is the coronal mass ejection loop. And in this story right here that you show and you see in the painting in the thumbnail, you see that Tahmuras, the king, right, which you can look at as the Asuras, and now the Asuras and the Devas, they both are considered divine at one time in the Vedas, right? And then literally cosmic law is broken, and there's a Vedic war over the knowledge that they were harnessing from the sun. And I'm not making this up, this is written in the Vedas. The ancient Vedic war between the Asuras and the Devas, the Asura Deva wars, was over the spotted cow. And the spotted cow is a literally, it translates to the rays of the light from the sun, right? And the rays of the light from the sun come from sunspots, right? We get those coronal mass ejection loops from sunspots, from twisting magnetic field lines that form these freaking huge plasma loops. And sometimes they turn into CMEs, and right? They're a weapon of the sun, the weapon of the god, right? The weapon of Varuna. Varuna wields that pasha, that loop that he holds in his hand as he's riding over the solar ocean, right? Varuna is the solar ocean god, and he holds the loop, the golden noose, in his hands, right? Now, in this, so when you're these Asura and Deva clans, even though they were both looked at as divine, after this war over the light, I mean, they literally went to war over the knowledge and powers that they were harnessing from the sun and other stars, and how that knowledge and powers was being applied to their rule on earth, right? They wanted, some of them who were using it to be in harmony and evolution with the universe. Some of them wanted to share this knowledge with earth. Some of them wanted to rule as gods as earth. I mean, all these clans broke up and split up all over the country, all over the planet, right? It was a worldwide organization that was once linked, but then went into their own tribes. And this is how you had all of these cultures that emerged, from the Persians to the Mitanni to the Chinese, Japanese. All these different cultures eventually came from this. Aboriginals, I mean, all of it, right? And eventually you come down to Islam, even, right? And even this Asura and Deva war is being portrayed now. Well, each side, even though the Devas are the priests, the Brahmins, and would be considered divine, well, if you were on the Asura side, you considered yourself the priest, warriors, and divine, and you considered the Devas evil, right? So the Deva could mean divine, but it also could mean devil, Deva, depending on what side you're on, or demon. So we get the word divine from Deva, and we also get the word demon or devil from Deva as well, right? We get the shining ones and the Asuras, the almighty Lord ones, the warrior ones, right? All these words stem from this, right? And the Asura and Deva war is being portrayed right in this ancient, this old painting. I think it might be from the 17th or 14th century. I forget when Tahmuras. I got to look it up. But this well-known painting, the Tahmuras versus the Jinn, right, where he's capturing the Jinn. This is portraying that Asura Deva war that still continues to this very day on the planet. It's about ego, materialism, the Asura current, that Asura vibe and current is about greed, materialism, drug addiction, all of this stuff, right? That's the Asura energies that has infiltrated the planet, right? And the Asura and Deva war is being portrayed in this painting, where Tahmura is the Asura warrior, and he's literally has the noose, and he's hooking the Jinn demons, which could be considered the Devas in this, if you're on the Asura side, right? So, like the Persians as well. These Persians, this is very similar Persian. They're Asuras, right? If you look into the Avesta, the Avesta is the sacred writings of the Persians. They have like Sanskrit mantras in there. They have Vedic mantras in there, and Vedic gods. We're talking about Mitra and all of these. I mean, Ahura Mazda is a sound shift from Asura, Ahura, right? So these are all Vedic origins, tribes, right? Asura tribes, Asura Deva tribes, hybrid tribes. They're mixed with Asura and Devas. So they became their own cultures, their own superpowers. You know, everything from the Hindu to the Hopi, right? They're all affected by this. They all were infiltrated by this knowledge. And you see, he's hooking the Jinn. The Jinn, remember, this is an earthly king, but he's given a divine status, right? A divine spiritual status. So the portrayal is very cosmic. He's hooking these spiritual creatures, the Jinn, on these poles that have a noose or a circle hook, a circle leash at the end, right? This is the golden noose of the gods. The same way Ganesha removes the evil on earth. He takes his golden noose from the sun and he lassos the evil on earth and pulls them into the celestial waters with his golden noose, right? This is the Pasha in Hindu, right? Sometimes called the Varuna Pasha, from the solar ocean god Varuna, right? He wields this as well, and Varuna wields it to lasso souls and pulls them into the celestial abode, the celestial waters. And Ganesha uses it to remove the evil on earth, right? And this is what coronal mass ejections can do. It could shut down the evil technology on earth. It could shut down the evil people on earth, right? When you have our magnetosphere weakened by strong coronal mass ejections, that cosmic radiation, that is RNA, DNA changing stuff. Not just damaging, it could change. There's information in there, right? So it's the most powerful weapon of the sun, right? And they describe it in all cultures. Even when you see Quetzalcoatl hanging before the gate of the sun, holding a snake in each hand that he's about to twist. This is talking about, and he's standing, he's hanging in front of the sun, holding two snakes he's about to twist. These are twisting magnetic field lines that form the plasma loops on the sun, right? It's solar divine knowledge here. They're not talking about some off topic that has nothing to do with the sun. They're talking about deep knowledge about the sun. Deep knowledge about the sun. And we have it right in Sufism as well. Even if the oral traditions and the mythologies that these people are carrying on, even the symbols, the pictograms, even if they're not even understanding what they're repeating and carrying on, it's in there. The origins is in there somewhere. So many of these dynasties, these families, they weren't awakening the origins and truth of the knowledge within them. They were carrying it on for those that will awaken it. Understand this, that many, even dynasties in Egypt, hieroglyphics, cuneiforms in Sumeria and different places, right? Ugaritic writings. Many of the people and prophets even, and priests that were carrying on this knowledge most likely did not understand the origins of it, but maybe had a deeper insight that they could see and not truly explain. But they were carrying on these oral traditions. Many hereditary families that I can attest to right in the Mediterranean, they were carrying oral traditions and stories, right? Not some of it in writing, but most of it in oral tradition stories passed down through hereditary spiritual families, right? And they're carrying it down in song form, right? While they're dancing around the fire, dancing around the sun during specific times of the year where the sun is going through miraculous things with earth, like midsummer night, midsummer's eve, right? Well, all of this has to do with knowledge that we're supposed to harness and align to, that's coming from the sun, information. that has to do with our solar year, that has to do with the light that's coming to us. And when we sing and send our intentions in that song, the sun absorbs that, right? But we've lost that knowledge. It's lost within mythology now. And I'm here to help awaken that, to bring that back, right? I'm not the only one. I'm adding my new layer to people of the past and all over, from Rudolf Steiner to Madame Blavatsky, all these people. I'm not trying to equal myself to them. I'm adding my own layer now, bringing back the knowledge that's within us that we've been carrying on for so long that we don't truly remember the origins of. Well, certain people, there's reasons why our bloodlines have been carrying these oral traditions around for many, many years. And Giordano Bruno was one of those ones who literally gave his life up for cosmic truth. He knew deep in his being, from his inner sight and his experiences, and then his research, right, and his knowledge, he knew that there was multiple, probably an infinite amount of suns in our universe with other life around them, other planets around them, and how it's, all of he predicted this way before we knew about it. And they said it was heresy, and they ultimately burned him alive for it after keeping him in the dungeon for many years. This is part of my bloodline, Laurie Bruno's bloodline, and part of our Lady and Lord of the Trinacrian Rose, which I stem from. I'm one of the mystics of Trinacria, brought back, right? And I even might have some of Julius Caesar somewhere in me. He was born on my same birthday, July 12th. They even named July after him, Julius. That's why they named July, from Julius Caesar. And he wasn't an emperor wrong. Maybe only a year or so. He was killed, right? And I didn't realize it until recently. I knew he died in 44 BC, but I didn't put two and two together that's 4 and 44 and 444 has been my number my whole life. Like, even when I was a little kid and I started playing soccer and sports, I always picked number 4 or number 13. And I always used my birthday 7/12, or I used 444. Like, even when we had beepers, like in the late 80s, 90s, and I had like a beeper, me and my friends, like I would always put 444 after the number so they knew it was me. Like, I always used those numbers. And he died in 44 BC. He was born July 12th, and then he died, I forget the year that he was born, but then he died in 44 BC, I think it was. And so I might have some connections with him some way, right? Somehow. And these are all, when you see the name Caesar, it's from Asar, it's from Asura, so it's Caesar, right? So Osiris's real name is, Osiris was the Greek version of the name, right? But his real name is Asar, Asar, which is a sound shift off the Asura, right? He's sometimes called Asar Hapi, right? The Hopi get their name from the Hapi, right? Asar Hapi, which comes from, they put an H in front of the API, Hapi, right? Well, that comes from the Vedic Apis, Sanskrit Apis, APAS, right? So that is the cosmic water in ancient Vedic. It's not just the waters, it's the solar waters, the cosmic waters. So when you say Asar Hapi, it's literally the Asura of the cosmic waters, the plasma waters, right? It's literally the divine sun warrior god, right, of the solar waters. That's the same term as Baal as well, right? He's the solar storm god, right? Elagabalus, the Emperor Elagabalus. This is the name, like Baal, Agabalus, like that. All it means there's solar gods, but they're originally also storm gods. So they're the storms of the sun, and they bring thunderbolts of lightning. They bring clouds and mist and rain. This is all the sun. These are all solar deities, just like Zeus. Zeus and Hera. Hera's like born in this cloud around Earth, inside the magnetosphere or some sort of plasma cloud, right? And she's heralded by the cuckoo's call as well. This is the sound of the electrons when it comes into the magnetosphere, right? It makes those sounds and stuff. So we have all this plasma physics and mythology that we've lost, right? We've lost the knowledge of. And you can see right in Sufism, even with those collars that they're throwing, they're throwing out the spear from the solar deity, from the solar king. He's throwing out the spear with the loop at the end, and he's hooking the cosmic smokeless vapor. That beast that he's hooking in the painting, the Jinn, it's really a smokeless fire that he's hooking with that loop. Do you understand the significance veiled within that? You have a loop coming from the Solar King that's looping smokeless fire from the cosmos. Only a true adept would be able to see this and understand this. And this is what's going on right before our eyes, even if the artist didn't realize it. It's in our collective memory. It's carried on within oral traditions. And we might not understand the information that's being used through the spinal current of our frequency. We might get it later on and we might not. But it's coming out through our art. It's coming out through our poems. You can write a poem today and you can think it's about a relationship that you're going through or whatever. But you'll start to get these interesting, deep metaphors to use to eloquently write the pain that you're currently going through. But then read that poem 20 years ago, and you might realize there's a cosmic significance between going on with that. Why? Because what comes out of us, what emits from us, is absorbed by the cosmos. And there's a reflection of that going on, right? And it's, you might even be looking into a future cosmic event that you're intimately connected to on your cosmic journey. Part of your soul's path, part of where you came from, part of where the light brought you from. Even the light that's absorbed by your mother during the time you're in the womb is important. This is the sun behind the sun Chronicles. And my name is Rock Castaldo. I'll see you guys soon. Spiral out.